This is why you should never get married. I consider myself to be traditional and old-fashioned, and normally I would support marriage and raising children. But in this day and age, it is not going to serve you. It is not going to benefit you in any way. So there is no incentive for you to get married. Because as a man in today's society, you are viewed as a robot, a machine. You are only valued for what you can produce, for what you can provide to people. So you're expected to work all day and then give it all away to sustain other people's lives. And even when you go home, you're expected to cook and clean. Because it's no longer a woman's duty to cook or clean for her man. And men no longer have any authority. They no longer have the power or right to give orders, make decisions and enforce obedience. But they are still forced to take responsibility. For women who are careless, reckless and running wild. So you're just meant to be a robot with no feelings, without any respect. Even though you may have worked hard all of your life. You may have contributed a lot to your community. You may have acquired a good job. You may be the CEO of your own company. You may be a man of high status. When you come home to your wife, you're not going to feel any respect. So you're not going to want to be there for long. So there's really no incentive for you to get married. Even though it is actually very easy for a woman to make a man happy. Because all they would have to do is take an interest in the things that you value and care about. But instead you end up returning to a home with no love or affection. With no interest in how your day went. And you don't even feel like you're the man of the house. You don't feel like you have any authority. Although you are still held responsible for anything that goes wrong. Which really doesn't add up. It doesn't make any logical sense. Because if you never had the opportunity to make decisions for the household, how could you be held responsible for it? But this is just the world we live in. You're expected to go through all of this stuff and not even be respected for it. Instead, you may feel humiliated and degraded. And by that point, you're not going to tolerate it. Because you don't have any authority in that situation, so you can't make a difference. You can't change anything about it. Because society has told you that you can't be the man of the house. They've told you that you're not allowed to have any authority. You're not allowed to decide what happens, and yet you are still held responsible for the consequences of other people's choices and decisions. Even though you're not allowed to have any influence over them. So your only purpose is to work excessively hard. To be a robot. A slave. Where you're forced to work for and obey another person. Where you're considered to be their property. Where your feelings don't matter. And you're just expected to deal with it. But it's very difficult for a man to tolerate disrespect, because it's hardwired in us to not tolerate that kind of treatment. It's what has kept us alive. It's what has gotten humanity to this point, and yet they want to destroy that. They want to destroy the sustenance of our life and existence, because they already know that disrespect is not going to produce anything good. In fact, it will drive a man to the worst and most shocking of crimes, because it causes us to develop low self-esteem. And if you look at any man who is in prison right now, they will have low self-esteem. And that is what caused them to commit a crime in the first place. Because when a man is disrespected, especially in a way that is intended to last or remain unchanged indefinitely, that is when they will make a sudden and complete change for the worse. Which is why we should always respect other people, especially other men, because you don't know what series of difficulties they might be going through, and you may be causing a further difficulty or annoyance to them that tips them over the edge. Which is why disrespect is very careless and dangerous. But this is what men have to deal with in a marriage. They are constantly being disrespected until they end up feeling depressed. But men are expected to be strong. They're expected to be able to deal with everything. So your feelings are not considered, and you're not given the respect that you deserve. Which is why men walk out of marriages or abandon their families. Because they realize they're not getting any respect. They realize that they're getting more respect from an 18-year-old prostitute by giving her money than by giving money to their own wife. You should never get married. And you've only got to look around at other married couples to see that very few of them are actually happy. And even the ones who look happy are probably in the honeymoon stage of their marriage. Modern women marry for the ring. They marry for the wedding day. They marry for the man's resources. It's just for the image. It's a false display that they present to the public. It's not about love. Which is why you may notice that a lot of married men and women are always looking around. Because a ring doesn't prevent them from being attracted to other people. It doesn't mean that you will always have that undivided attention. And you may also feel like you are trapped in a marriage. You may feel like they're always checking on you, and it's a lot of work for you to deal with the children, when all you may want is just to be free. You may just want to let go of your responsibilities and do what you want to do. But you can't because you're stuck. It's like you can't even be yourself anymore. You can't even spend time with your friends without them calling you up, without them wanting to know when you're coming home. You may feel suffocated. You may feel like they're always there. They're always breathing down your neck. And that is not love. Because love is not about control. Control stems from insecurity. And love is freedom. When you're in love, you feel like you can do whatever you want. You feel like you can take on the world. But that is not the feeling you get in a marriage. You might see it on Facebook or Instagram, but you won't see it in reality. Marriage is a setup. It is a scheme intended to incriminate and deceive you, because then organizations get paid when you get a divorce. And you get stuck paying child support and alimony while she's living in your house. And maybe her new man is sitting on your couch or driving your cars. And you're paying for all of it. You're paying for the fuel. You're paying for their food. You're funding your own destruction and humiliation because many of them are laughing at you. They already know it's unfair. But as long as they're getting something out of it, they don't care. Because all they care about is their own pocket, which just leaves you in a stressful situation where you're left to fend for yourself. So it's really all just a setup. It's intended to tear you down so that other people can benefit at your expense.